down 86% in 2022. Is Coinbase stock a buy for 2023? Let's take a look at that and answer that question in this video. The first thing I want to look at is Coinbase's revenue growth going back till early 2020. That's as far as the data goes in for this company, and you could see that revenue exploded from less than 500 million up all the way to 2.4 billion in early 2022, and then it's just absolutely crashing down to 600 million in its most recent quarter, and we don't know how much more it's going to continue crashing. Coinbase, of course, makes money from bringing together buyers and sellers of cryptocurrencies, and it makes money off of transactions and some other ways. But it relies on cryptocurrency remaining popular and bringing in and attracting a lot of new participants to the industry. It doesn't so much make any money on people buying and holding the cryptocurrency. In fact, management complained that that's what the people that are still many cryptocurrency investors have gotten disenchanted, I want to say, with the industry after seeing the price crashing, after seeing so many fraudsters come to light. They've kind of shied away from participating in the industry. There's many, however, cryptocurrency enthusiasts that have remained, but their strategy has been to just buy and hold whatever they had, and Coinbase doesn't really profit from that. Coinbase profits from transactions, right? Buying, selling, going in and out, bringing in new customers. That's what Coinbase needs to see. Unfortunately, that's not what's happening, and it's heading in the wrong direction, not in the right direction for Coinbase. The next thing I want to look at is Coinbase's operating income, and when revenue exploded, it helped its operating income soar to over 600 million in several consecutive quarters. But now that the revenues have come down, so has its operating income. It's operated at a loss for several quarters now, losing 557 million in its most recent quarter on revenue of 590 million. So really bad economics here. If you're generating 590 million in revenue and that's causing you to lose 557 million dollars in operating income, that's not really the kind of business you want to be in there. You're losing just about as much, you're losing just about a dollar for every dollar in revenue that you're bringing in. Not really sustainable business model that can uh, thrive in the long run. And it's unlikely that its business booms back to the level it was in 2020 and 2021, right? I don't think cryptocurrencies is ever going to be as popular as it was during that time late in 2020, early in 2021. I think that was like the nadir of the industry, and I don't think it's unlikely that all those factors will come together like they did in 2021. And then let's look at its cash flow from operations. And again, like its operating income, it was doing really well, generating over 2.5 billion in cash flow from operations for a couple of quarters. But now that its revenue has come down, it's also harming cash flows. It lost a whopping 953 million in cash flow from operations, and the quarter before that, in the quarter ended in July, it lost more than 2.5 billion in cash flow from operations, almost offsetting the 2.5 billion it made earlier. And so it's losing whatever it gained early on from the popularity. It's going away just as quickly, which is unfortunately the way it goes when you're investing in these types of popular, hyped up, fad type stocks like Coinbase is. It can be really hot when everybody's into it, but it can also reverse just as quickly, and you're left holding the bag and you're wondering what in the world just happened to me here. And part of the reason why it's losing so much money on the bottom line is when the company grew revenues, it thought that this might persist and this might sustain. So it exploded hiring. It went from around, let's say, 1,000 employees to more than tripling up to 3,700 employees. That's more than tripling in a little, I would say in a year to triple your headcount. That's a lot of growth. And now I believe it's going to be time to start unwinding that. You're gonna likely see some layoffs announced at Coinbase, if that is if it wants to bring its company up to a sustainable level. Of course, it can continue losing cash if it can raise money from shareholders or borrow money to sustain itself. However, if it wants to be self-sustaining, it needs to announce some layoffs. Finally, let's look at its valuation, trading at a price to sales of 1.5. It's the lowest it has traded for according to this valuation going back to before July of 2021. So relatively speaking, you haven't been able to buy Coinbase stock at this kind of valuation. However, I would not recommend buying Coinbase stock, and I would actually not recommend Coinbase stock at any time in the next quarter, um, maybe even longer than that. You would need to see a lot of um, progress in uh, the cryptocurrency industry in terms of slowing down the exodus of participants, in slowing down these announcements, these new revelations of one fraud after another. Because even though you might say, okay, Coinbase is not directly exposed to that in a meaningful way, it's a cloud over the entire industry that keeps new customers and new consumers from entering, and putting a lid on how far that industry can grow. All right, so that's all I've got for this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I want to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/parkev for the 10 best stocks to buy now.